It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. WCPT. WCPT.
This the coldest boys show. You were getting the hour from 6 p.m. to 7. Chillin' with Lauren Cox and the man Marvelous. Shout out to Mr. Rouse and the Italian style. You sports is the only politic.
WCPT. WCPT. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse. It's the freshest radio show in town. Feeling marvelous, I've been with Jerry Rouse.
Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
That's a touchdown for Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
I'm excited, just to, get in the playbook, kind of, pick Coach Nagy's brain and kind of just really get to meet my teammates, meet my new brothers. I'm definitely excited for that. And really just to get up to Chicago. It feels great. I mean, it feels like, that I'm home. So I'm excited to be a Chicago Bear, and I'm, excited to get started. Chicago's going to get my all, as a quarterback, as a person. And I'm going to give my all to the city and to the team. So I'm excited. I think, playing on big stages, I think some players might have to adjust to that, making this transition from college to the NFL. But if you're a player that's already played on that big stage, it shouldn't be that much of a difference from playing from college to the NFL. So, as far as, big stages go, it's a bigger stage, but not that much bigger of a stage.
This is crucial now as the Buckeyes try to stretch this 7-point lead. Fields on the run, launches for the end zone, coming back, caught for a touchdown by Olave. And the Buckeyes stretch the lead, and Fields kind of limping to the sidelines, still not right, but delivered a strike. Fields down the field, caught for a touchdown. Jamison Williams make it 5 touchdowns for Fields tonight, and the Buckeyes can smell it.
Hello, Chicago! Hello, Bear Nation! Hello, Buckeye Nation! Ladies and gentlemen, this is another edition of the Rewind Sports 60 on WCPT 820 AM in the beautiful, beautiful city of Chicago in the outstanding neighborhood of Jefferson Park. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rewind Sports 60 and your Ohio State Buckeyes, your Chicago Bears. Woo! So hang on. We're taking your phone calls here at Buckeye Central, Bear Central, Ohio Nation. Our number 773-763-9278, 773-763 WCPT. Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear me, you know it. I'm ecstatic. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it, Marvelous. I can't believe it.
Sound like Al Michaels.
I can't believe
it. Do you believe in miracles? Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a miracle. We have. I've been on pins and needles since Thursday evening.
That sounds painful.
It wasn't painful. It was exhilarating. The Chicago Bears, and let's give a round of applause. Come on. Woo! Put them hands together. Woo-hoo! Let's give a round of applause for the general manager, Ryan Pace. Let's give a round of applause to the head coach, who pretty much, I think, made the deal, Matt Nagy, and of course, the president, the chairman, George McCaskey, for making this happen, man. For making this happen. It's unbelievable. This is what should have happened. This is yours truly, Jerry Riles, of course, the marvelous one, Dan Marvin. We're right into this thing. I'm so beside myself. It's unbelievable. It's a new day in the city of Chicago as far as the National Football League is concerned, as far as professional football is concerned. It is, ladies and gentlemen, it is a new day in Chicago. It's a new day for Bear fans. I'm beside myself. We have a bona fide number one draft pick who's ready to step in and make it to the next level and take this team not only to respectability, but in my opinion, if Matt Nagy does things properly and Ryan Pace gets out of his own way, which with this draft, he appeared to have gotten out of his way. This football team, ladies and gentlemen, that's been in limbo, and some would say on life support, this Chicago Bears football team, ladies and gentlemen, they're primed to be playoff bound continuously, consistently. And with the way the league is and how the cards can unfold, these Chicago Bears, I predict they can play for the Super Bowl within the next 2 to 3 years if their cards are played right. If their cards are played right, if the defense steps up and they have the intangibles that they have, if this new defensive coordinator can keep the defense on tack, Matt Nagy has his quarterback, everybody comes back healthy, and you run the plays that you believe this kid is capable of doing, and there's no question about it, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Fields, congratulations, is capable of running the Bears offense, even with the weapons that they currently have on this football team. And if everybody comes back healthy, this kid is prime, he's ready, and he's destined to take the Chicago Bears franchise back to respectability and hopefully a Super Bowl championship. Marvelous, what were your thoughts when you heard the news that the Chicago Bears moved up to number 11? They traded with the New York Giants. The New York Giants to acquire this kid.
Well, I was surprised that they got Justin Schuyler Fields, born March 5th, 1999, who played 1 year at Georgia and 2 years at Ohio State. The Bears gave up quite a bit, though. They did give up the 20th overall pick this year, 5th round pick this year, first pick next year, and the 4th pick next year. So I hope it works out. I was just wondering why he dropped to 11 since, the 3 top picks were all quarterbacks this year. So I was just a little concerned. There was some concern about the fact that he has epilepsy.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that was a factor in him dropping to 11, but good for the Bears to nab him at number 11 because he looks like the kind of quarterback that we've been looking for some time. And I hope it doesn't work out the same way as the last time.
Well, you know what?
Forbid.
I think just like the previous president that we had in office running this country, I think for the Chicago Bears and the previous quarterback that we had running the team, I say we don't even have to mention the name anymore. Because it's a new chapter in Chicago Bears football history. It's a new chapter. This kid, there is no comparison. I love the guy, and I won't put him out there on Blast Street, but a good friend of mine, he told me that, hey, you know what? This Justin Fields guy kind of reminds me of a little bit of the guy that we just lost. I go, are you out of your mind?
Talking about Mahomes?
I go, are you out of your mind? I go, no. I go, there's no comparison. He goes, well, if you look at their last years in college, they both had pretty decent years. I go, wait a minute. I go, are you kidding me? I go, do you know what Justin Fields just accomplished? He goes, yeah, I understand. He said, but they both had comparable. They were really good in their final collegiate, careers. Yeah. I go, listen. I go, the guy that we had before, his final year in college is comparable, and no offense to any high school team that won the state title over the past few years. No offense to them. I go, but his accomplishments on the collegiate level is comparable to a high school team winning the state title. I go, this kid, Justin Fields, coming out of the Ohio State.
The
Ohio State. I go, this guy just played on the major stage for the national championship. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I said in the semifinals against Clemson, this guy was...
I mean, he was broke. He was injured, and he did it.
Exactly. The guy went nuts. Did you hear this one? Which one is it? Where are we here? Did you hear this?
Fields down the field. Caught for a touchdown. Jamison Williams making 5 touchdowns for Fields tonight, and the Buckeyes can smell it.
6 altogether, yeah.
Unbelievable. And then this kid just put on a magnificent performance. There's no comparison between what we just got rid of.
Yeah.
And no offense to the kid, and he's gotten paid, but this garbage that we just gotten rid of, compared to what we're about to, this kid right now hasn't even stepped on Soldier Field yet. Well, maybe yeah, because the Chicago Bears put out photos and pictures of him touring the stadium today. But this kid, he has yet to play a game, a minute of football in Soldier Field in the National Football League. I guarantee you, when Justin Fields steps on the football field at Soldier Field, first of all, the fan base, you need to go crazy. You need to go nuts. Let's go crazy. Prince, sing it. Let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. Let's do it, because this kid is going to take you to the next. He's taking us to the promised land. He is taking the Chicago Bears franchise, the Chicago Bears fan base, the city of Chicago, to the promised land. You will forget about this guy that some people still, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. The kid was decent. He wasn't a football player. This kid is a football player. And the atmosphere that he's coming from, think about this. I played Hang On Sloopy by the best damn band in the world. The best damn band in the land, the best damn band in the world, the Ohio State University Marching Band. They house over 106,000, 108,000 in the Big Shoe and the Horseshoe? Somewhere around, give or take. 108, 110,000 fans in the Horseshoe. Chicago Bear fans, when you get over to the lakefront, I know we can only, 66,000, somewhere around there, 65,000 fans. When you season ticket holders, when everything opens up, and congratulations, we're moving forward. You guys are doing a very good job. You girls are doing a very good job, because we getting back to the United Center. They had 4,400 people there or something like that the other night at the Bulls game. And sayonara to the Bulls and the Blackhawks. But once we're at full capacity, where we can pack the house, we can shake the lake, 66,000 fans, 65,000 fans, Bear fans over on the lakefront, shaking the lake. This kid is going to be phenomenal. And I can just go on and on and on. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. 60 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, the fastest hour in sports. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, along with the marvelous one, Dan Marver.
Yeah, I mean, it's just under 105,000, and it's slightly behind the other two in the Big Ten. The school I won't mention and Penn State have slightly bigger stadiums than Ohio State, but it's just under 105,000. So, I mean, it was a crazy year, of course. I mean, so in terms of the Big Ten and whatever, but there was some concern also about a performance in the Big Ten championship game against Northwestern, and so a lot of people were saying that there were some games where he wasn't a superstar, but he sure was against Clemson.
He certainly was against Clemson, and I think there were some scouts who maybe looked over his playing career and his playing performance. And I can remember some of the broadcasts. Was that Chris Fowler on the broadcast, ESPN?
Yeah.
But there were some media types that said that Justin Fields may not be strong enough, may not be tough enough, to withstand the pressures, and of course in the incredible game that he was able to put up a showing after being injured. There was no question about it, remarkable by the strength mentally and physically of this young man. And I got to say congratulations to him for the simple fact, and the Chicago Bears, for the simple fact that the Bears organization made history with this draft pick. They made history by selecting the first African-American quarterback in the first round in franchise history. Let that sink in a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Let that sink in and think about this. We're in 2021. We've just come off a tremendous, incredible 2020 year. The Chicago Bears franchise organization just drafted in franchise history the first African-American quarterback first round.
right? I mean, Vince Evans was the 6th round.
He was the 6th rounder.
That up, yeah.
Yeah, Vince Evans was the 6th rounder.
Yeah.
He was the first African-American quarterback to start for the Chicago Bears. But Justin Fields is the very first African-American quarterback to be drafted in the first round by your Chicago Bears. So we have to say congratulations and kudos to the Bears organization for finally advancing and moving into the 21st century. And I hope that Virginia McCaskey is as excited, as elated, and as ecstatic as yours truly, because I was when the Bears picked and we learned that they moved up to the 11th spot, Marvelous.
Yeah.
And I'm looking because Mac Jones out of Alabama, he and Justin were there. They were waiting for the pickings, and I'm thinking in my mind, who are they going to go for? And I said, well, wait a minute. If they go for Mac Jones, I go, that's a pretty good that's a pretty good get.
Yeah, he went to New England.
Yeah, that's another story, but that's a pretty good get.
Yeah.
So we weren't going to lose either way. The fact that this guy, Ryan Pace, was able to maneuver and move up to get the 11th pick and get the right quarterback is kudos to him. There's a lot more in store, and we've got a lot to unravel here. But we want to say, if you want to be a part of our conversation in the fastest hour sports conversation here on WCPT 820 AM, please give us a call. Our number is 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT.
Boy, how exciting is this? With the 11th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, my Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
That's a touchdown for Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. Now, that voice you just heard, was that of one Carlos Nelson. Carlos Nelson is the Chief Executive Officer of the Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation, GAGDC, having joined the upstart organization in 2003. He is a mechanical engineer and certified project manager focusing on construction and real estate development. Carlos has been a longtime stakeholder in the Auburn Gresham community, a community he has been a part of all of his life, a place where his grandparents have resided since 1963. While working in Chicago's Loop as an engineer and living near 79th and Racine during the 1980s and 90s, Carlos had a strong desire to help people in need. He tutored in the Cabrini Green tutoring program. Then in April of 2002, became more involved in his own community. He began volunteering for the newly formed not-for-profit organization, whose executive director left in December of 2002 to relocate to that place up north.
Michigan.
Hey, take it easy. Carlos accepted the position of executive director in January 2003, leaving corporate America behind. Carlos often says that he has not worked a day since 2003, as working to rebuild his people and community is not working at all, and joyfully proclaims not many people are blessed to do what God put them on the earth to do. Ladies and gentlemen, he's on our TRS60 hotline. He was the voice to start this phenomenon as far as Chicago Bear fans are concerned. The selection of the Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields to your Chicago Bears franchise. He's on our TR60 hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's Carlos Nelson. Carlos, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jerry. Every time I hear that clip played, I get excited all over again, man. Oh, what a great feeling.
Well, here you go, Carlos, one more time.
Boy, how exciting is this? With the 11th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, my Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
Justin Fields.
Carlos, what was it? Describe that feeling. Share with our listening audience what it was like to be in that moment, to read the name for our storybook franchise. Share that experience with us, Carlos.
So the Bears traded up, and so I had to go sprinting to the backstage, and I didn't know who they were going to select. And when they put the card in my hand, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, Justin Fields, if you watch the clip on ESPN, I bolted up to the podium. It was supposed to be the commissioner's job to go to the podium first. I was like, you know what? I want to make this announcement before somebody changes their mind. It was just, I was so enthralled, and I still am.
Oh my God, you should be, and it was great to see your expression up there, and I loved it as a Chicagoan, as a Bear fan, and as a Buckeye. When you read the name, I was sitting on my nice sofa, and I almost fell off the sofa, Carlos, because I for the life of me, and I'm like you, I grew up, we'll get into where we grew up in the area and everything, but a lifelong Chicagoan, man, we've seen the ups and downs, and we've seen the quarterback carousel, but to see and hear that the Chicago Bears, this administration, current people in place, finally put it together, and they went after a bona fide stud at quarterback. It was just, I couldn't believe it. I had to pinch myself. I could not believe it, Carlos.
Well, and I had imagined, I watched the two Northwestern kids, and they're both from here. That would have been nice, an offensive tackle or a cornerback to need. But I tell you, Ryan Pace, he saved himself. You talk about a lifeline. He has just added a number of years to his career here with the Chicago Bears organization. Fabulous job.
So this is Dan here in the studio. You must have been really excited to get this honor to make this announcement. Maybe we should have you do this every year. You did so good.
Well, yeah, to hear Jerry talk about, I guess I am a part of history. So they had an African-American from the south side of Chicago fly out to Cleveland to make a first-round draft pick, and I get to bring home a number one quarterback, African-American quarterback from Ohio State University. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this.
Now, Carlos.
It kind of reminds me of the Bulls selecting Derrick Rose slightly. Yeah. It was, that kind of excitement.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It comes close to that. And, my beautiful wife, Lisa, she is and my daughters, they're Illini fans. I'm a Illini fan too, University of Illinois. She did not get as excited as I did, of course. My son and I, he's a Buckeye, I'm a Buckeye. But I said, honey, this is comparable to if the Bulls made a selection. I said Derrick Rose, but it still didn't resonate as much with her. I said this would be comparable to the Chicago Bulls drafting Ayo DeSumo coming out of the University of Illinois. I said if they drafted him and then it registered, she'd go, okay, now I get this. I understand it now. But I mean, this was it was twofold for me, Carlos, and we're on with Carlos Nelson. He's the CEO, Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation on the South Side. The reason it's twofold is the simple fact, of course, I'm a Buckeye and I'm a Chicagoan and I'm a Bear fan. And the fact that watching this dismal display of comprehension regarding talent on the highest level with Nagy and Pace, we were at our wits' ends, and for them to finally get somebody who can play quarterback. But again, I didn't know if they were going to go for Mac Jones or if they're going to go for Justin Fields. But the fact that they were in position to get a bona fide quarterback who can go to the next level, and then out of the Ohio State University, I swear to you, it's almost as if I died and gone to heaven, because the Bears organization, my storybook franchise team, they did something wise, and they got a guy he is primed to play at the next level, because that's what Ohio State is. Honestly, Carlos, and I don't know, are you a Buckeye fan? Are you an Ohio State fan?
I am. Well, anybody from Chicago my age loves Archie Griffin, so I took you way back there.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
Chris Spillman. Yeah.
There you go. That's my buddy. There you go. But I'm like, dude. I'm like, I go, this guy. Here's the deal. Justin Fields. He's going to have to take a step down, or Bear fans are going to have to take a step up, because again, playing on Saturday afternoon in Columbus in the fall in front of 105,000 fans, it really, really doesn't get any better than that. And people talk about, what about Alabama? What do you go down to Oklahoma? What are you talking about Nebraska? What are you talking about? No, listen. And I've had arguments over the years with people regarding this. Listen, if you have never, ever gone to Ohio State football game on Saturday afternoon in Columbus, you got to do it because it's the most exhilarating, life-changing experience ever. I'll give you a quick how the Buckeyes lured my son to Ohio State. He played at Buffalo Grove High School, and I'll try to make it quick. He played at Buffalo Grove High School. He got to, some invites from a few schools. He went to Ohio State for the visit. The best damn band in the land was they welcomed all the students, and he was so there. They put on a great performance. They gave steak dinners and all that. They put the high school recruits. They put us all on the 50-yard line. They put us on the 50-yard line. At halftime, they took us up to the suite and wined and dined us with a full, buffet of food, right? And my son was like, wow, it was overwhelming. The next week, and no offense to the University of Illinois, the next week, he went down to U of I for their recruiting day, right? Do you know what they did? They gave us tickets and they put us like in the corner. They put all the recruits like in the corner, maybe the southeast corner of the stadium there. Oh. At halftime, they took the recruits and their family down. You know what they gave us to eat?
Peanut butter.
Close. They gave us hot dogs, potato chips, and a soda.
Oh my God!
And when that happened, my son, it was a done deal. He was a Buckeye, and that's all she wrote. So that's the difference between but the Bear fans, they're going to have to step up their game. Because if this kid gets on Soldier Field and he's looking around and he's barking out signals and he hits the tight end, Cole Kmet, across the middle, and who sprints for 35 yards for a touchdown for his first touchdown, or he hits Tariq Cohen on a flat, and Tariq does what he does as a human joystick and gets in the end zone, and he looks around and these 65,000 fans are just screaming, hey, yeah, he's going to go, where the hell am I? What the hell is this?
Right.
So Bear fans got to step up their game, my good friend. But how did you get selected for this opportunity, Carlos?
I forget about that background story because I'm just so excited about being able to announce it. But the Chicago Bears, this has been a really good year for the organization and Bears Cares. They've been supporting our community in Auburn Gresham since 2016. Support to Leo High School. Support to a couple of our other partners on the south side. And so when GAGDC acquired the 60,000 square foot vacant building right near 79th and Halsted to transform it into the Auburn Gresham Healthy Lifestyle Hub, the Bears, they took notice. The Pritzker Traubert Foundation certainly took notice and awarded us a $10 million Chicago Prize competition grant. And Mayor Lightfoot and her Invest Southwest took notice. Well, the Bears wanted to go a step further because this is during COVID, and as you heard the commissioner mentioning the focus around health disparities and digital divide and mental illness and food insecurity. The Bears said we have the perfect organization to announce regarding health disparities, and they selected me. Now, what they did not know is that on April 2nd, my father and my sister died.
Oh.
And my father and I, for the last 50 years, spent every Bears game watching it together. That was our bonding time. And so when the Bears called me and told me that I was going to be flown out to Cleveland to make the announcement, I just bawled like a little baby, man. Because it truly is my father as the angel. And so that's how it happened. The Bears fans were incredible. Even the Packers fans, which were right in front, were kind of excited, which is kind of bizarre. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear about the Aaron Rodgers story at that time, but everybody was just so excited, and you could see the enthusiasm just kind of spilling out of off of me. And so I am just I wish Justin had been there, but that's all right. But I did imagine when I recognized that Matt Jones was still available, mm-hmm. and I knew that the Patriots would love to have gotten Matt Jones, I was trying to see if I would be able to, rev up the same excitement to announce Matt Jones as the Bears quarterback. So I'm glad I didn't have to do that.
Well, I'm glad you didn't have to do it either. Condolences go out to you and your family on your loss. But what a gift from above to put you in a position and put you in a place to represent your father and your sister, your family, the great city of Chicago, the great Bears organization, and of course Buckeye Nation. It had to have been a phenomenal, exhilarating experience for you, and it's something that you will live the rest of your life with, and it'll be embedded in history here in Chicago, brother. I really, really appreciate you. Real quick, so did you go to Leo High School?
I did not go to Leo High School, but I spent much of my time right on 79th in Austin. I actually went to high school in South Holland, where Eddie Curry went to high school. Yeah, that's the last time I'll mention his name, though, right?
Oh, jeez, it's okay, man. It's okay. Eddie Curry he had some bumps in the road. It was a good thought. Yeah. It was a good thought on Jerry Krause's part. May he rest in peace. But
right.
Yeah, but I think you're in a great community. Congratulations on all the successes that you've had. I'm glad that the Bears organization recognized that. The great city of Chicago and Lori Lightfoot recognized the work that you're doing in the community. I grew up 95th and Ashland area, and I can tell you that I've done a lot of work in that area. I actually, and our prayers go out to Father Michael Flager over at St. Sabina, but
yes.
I actually met Father Flager and worked for him many, many moons ago, Carlos, as I used to be a day camp counselor over at St. Sabina during the summers over there years ago, and so my relationship has grown over the years regarding Father Michael Flager, and of course I know the community over there, and I ask you about Leo High School because it's around the corner, and a lot of my friends went to Leo. I went to the great St. Rita High School on the city's south side when it was on 63rd and Claremont, not the current location, man. But
right.
I love the fact that you're in the hood, you're in the community, and you're doing tremendous work there to change it.
Well, I appreciate that, and if you get a chance to come back out, we are really, really, really close with St. Sabina, and Father Mike and I are friends. For the last 15 years, we've been doing this big community festival called the 79th Street Renaissance Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So, 15 years, 25,000 people on a weekend at the event in the middle of 79th Street, and never one act of violence in all the years. And that's never been on the news, never been covered.
Well, we're going to make a difference, that's for sure. And we want to continue to work, you to continue to do the work you're doing by making a difference as well. Carlos Nelson, thank you again for your time, and congratulations, and God bless you. And let's go Bears, let's go Bucks.
Right, absolutely. And thumbs up to the St. Rita Mustangs, too.
That boy, you're the best, Carlos. I appreciate you, man. Take care of yourself, stay safe, and hopefully our paths will cross again soon. Thank you, brother.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Carlos Nelson on our TRS60 hotline, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation.
There you go. Eddie Curry was the number one player in Illinois in 2000. Yeah.
You know what?
And he committed to DePaul and was drafted 4th overall by the Bulls. He didn't even go to college.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, things didn't work out for him. Tyson Chandler, it worked out really, really well for him. But you got to give kudos to the late, great Jerry Krause. And I call him great because he was a part of the dynasty. I don't think he necessarily built it, and that's a discussion that we can have later. But when he dismantled it and he felt that he can get these two twin towers in Tyson Chandler and Eddie Curry, we kind of looked at him like he was losing his mind.
Yeah, organizations win championships,
Yeah, of course. And but when you look at it in hindsight, if they have the way players and athletes are projected and the potential, if Eddie Curry had lived up to the expectations, who knows?
Yeah.
Because Tyson Chandler, he's had a fabulous, tremendous career. Unfortunately, it wasn't with the Chicago Bears, Bulls. But if things had panned out the way Jerry Krause envisioned, who knows, man? We could have been sitting on multiple championships here in Chicago as far as the Bulls are concerned. They're scrapping to see if they can get into the playoffs, which I don't think that it's going to happen, Marvelous.
No. No, right now they're actually behind Washington and Toronto for the 10th spot, which is the play-in spot anyway. As I was describing a few weeks ago, there's the 8 teams really qualify, but they have 10 play 9. The winner plays the loser 7-8. So it's kind of a crazy setup just to get in. 10, it's like a booby prize.
Yeah. Yeah. If our guy didn't go down, what do you think that they would?
Levine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. Do you think we would have had a shot?
Didn't help, but I just think that it's kind of to me a joke that the 10 teams get in. I mean, it is. Then after all that and they make the 8 spot, they're going to play the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So it's silly.
Yeah. So we'll see. But we continue to talk here at Bears Central, Buckeye Central about the Chicago Bears and I say unprecedented move they made by moving up to the 11th spot to pick up Justin Fields out of the Ohio State University this past week.
I'm excited, just to, get in the playbook, kind of, pick Coach Nagy's brain and kind of just really get to meet my teammates, meet my new brothers. I'm definitely excited for that and really just to get up to Chicago. It feels great. I mean, it feels like, that I'm home. So I'm excited to be a Chicago Bear and I'm, excited to get started. Chicago's going to get my all, as a quarterback, as a person, and I'm going to give my all to the city and to the team, so I'm excited.
That's your number 1 quarterback, Justin Fields, for the 2021 season. This is the Rewind Sports 60. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, of course, with the marvelous one, Dan Marvin. The one thing I loved about the clip and what he said, I'm home. He said, I'm home. Which is it stood out to me because did he want to be here in Chicago? Yeah. I hope that was the case. But whatever the case may be, he is here in Chicago. And this gentleman, I love him to death. He's on our TRS60 hotline. He is a friend of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the legendary Chicago Bears beat reporter, Daily Herald, Chicago Tribune, NBC Sports Chicago, and, of course, here on the Rewind Sports 60, it's our good friend, John Moon Mullen. Moon, how you doing, man?
Wow, I'm doing well. It's been too long.
It has, brother, and I'm glad. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad to hear your voice, man. And I don't know about you, but we had to reach out and get you because Moon. The Bears made history, first of all, by getting the first ever African American quarterback in the first round. That's unbelievable. But they finally got a stud quarterback who can really transition and plug into Nagy's system and hopefully have a bright future here in Chicago. But I'm simply beside myself. What were your thoughts and reaction when you saw what happened?
I had a lot of reactions. The first thing, the big picture that they did that I wasn't sure that they could accomplish, they sort of relit the pilot light on the interest in the Chicago Bears in a Chicago Bears town. And I think you'd agree, they've lost the buzz. I don't think it was much sport, and it wasn't all COVID. They were dead in the water, or just kind of everybody. I think it was more cynicism or skepticism. And with that pick, they reignited interest in the team. And I didn't think that was possible to do it with a guy before he's even played one snap. But I think they did that. So it's already a marketing success. It's not unprecedented, though, because unfortunately, it's very precedented that they would move up in the first round because they did it with Mitch Trubisky. How'd that work out? Not so good.
Hey, Moon.
Yeah.
We don't say that name anymore. It's done. No fit. I love the kid. I think he got paid handsomely well, but we don't mention that anymore. We turn the page. It's a new chapter. We're moving forward.
New chapter, new book. Let's make it a new book.
There you go.
That's not even stay in the same book. But, and so just kind of moving through the impressions, one thing that I was really struck by is they took, let's see, quarterback, 2 offensive tackles, a cornerback, wide receiver, and a D lineman. Mm-hmm. Those are absolutely the need positions that were absolutely by consensus and acclamation what they had to do. Why that's kind of significant is I think Ryan Pace has occasionally been a prisoner of his own draft board. But in this case, he must have had the grades on these guys, so he drafted exactly into what they needed. They didn't just go out and get, well, I guess we could use a God, I'm trying to think of what they did get a nose tackle. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always get another edge like a safety, we'll say, or something.
Right.
They didn't just take a guy who was highly rated. They did have him highly rated, whether it was Tevin Jenkins or the kid from Missouri. So clearly their draft board broke in a good way to match up with their needs, and that kind of was like, whoa, that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
So they didn't. I don't think they reached for anybody. I thought Justin Fields would have been my number 2 guy off the board.
Who would have been your number 1 guy?
I think Lawrence. I thought was just. Although I'm going to tell you this.
No, if you're the Bears. If you're the Bears.
Oh, number 1 for the Bears?
Yeah, because we weren't going to get Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that wasn't going to happen.
Oh, right. No, I just thought you meant how would I rank quarterbacks? No, I didn't think anybody was that good was going to be available down at 20, or even if they traded up a few. But I'll share this with you because I passed it along to Ryan Pace, and I got a big LOL exclamation point. My daughter went to and now works for Ohio State.
Oh my God!
And I asked her for and she and her husband have season tickets. They're devout fans. And I said, "What can you tell me?" And her first thing was, "He's a cutie." And I told Ryan, I said, "Ryan, that is scouting insight you do not get every day, mister." So I said, "You need to reform your scouting checklist and get the cuteness factor because." Clearly, that makes an impression on the fan base.
So Moon, we're on with the great John Moon Mullen, legendary Chicago Bears beat reporter, joining us on the Rewind Sports 60, friend of the program. I got to ask you, how did your daughter end up selecting Ohio State? And of course, congratulations to her on finding a man from Ohio State. My son actually did the same thing. He married a beautiful woman from Cincinnati who he graduated from Ohio State, Mandy. And here's the deal: her name was Mandy Miles. That's her maiden name, Miles. And of course Riles. And I had dinner with them back in 2000 in New Orleans. When the Buckeyes went to the national championship and we got our asses kicked. But we were having dinner and I said, "Can you imagine if you two get married? You only have to change one letter in your name from Mandy Miles to Mandy Riles." And of course they get married. But how did your beautiful daughter end up making a wise selection by going to the Ohio State University?
She initially was going to go into landscape architecture, and Ohio State had a college within the college in their College of Agriculture, and that was her chosen, or kind of her field of choice. Now, she didn't stay in it, but living in Ohio at the time, she got the in-state rate, so it was, you can pay twice as much to go somewhere else, but it turned out to be good. She went there grad and undergrad and grad.
Wow.
And she actually got her master's in education. I couldn't talk her out of it, damn it.
Hey, John, this is Dan in the studio. How you doing? In 2017 draft, you actually, if I recall correctly, thought that the Bears might, with their 3rd pick, they might pick from Clemson, the young man that went to Houston, was what you thought would happen back then. And there is some similarity here. They say, the Bears signed Glennon to that 3-year contract before they picked Trubisky. Now they signed Dalton to a 1-year, $10 million contract. So, obviously, they're going to. Dalton's a starter, supposedly. Do you think that's what's going to end up happening?
Yeah. And Fields should have to win the job. That's the NFL ethic, and that's what it should be. He should beat Andy Goodall now, and that's if and when it happens, that's the natural order of things. But you brought up something really interesting there, Dan. In 2015, when the Bears drafted Kevin White, Ryan Pace went against his coaches. I was told that they wanted Vic Beasley, the pass rusher who went to Atlanta. Certainly a better player than Kevin turned out to be, because of injuries or whatever. Fast forward then to 2017, and the whole coaching staff wanted Deshaun Watson. Well, Ryan didn't listen to him, and what they end up with, another mistake. So didn't you guys marvel at how many times you heard the word collaboration or collaborative or cooperative or what the heck?
Yeah.
And I felt like he went overboard the other direction this time, whether to share the blame if it's wrong or just to realize, I really screwed the pooch on those 2 out of those first 3 drafts. So the coordination couldn't have been any worse than it was with John Fox.
Yeah. Hey, John, I want to ask you this because, first of all, what grade do you give Pace and Nagy on this recent draft? What grade do you give them?
Well, I'm not one of these guys who says you need to wait 3 years. No. I can tell you, you didn't have to wait 3 years. You didn't have to wait 3 practices to know that Shea McClellan was not an edge rusher.
Oh my God!
And you shouldn't. If it takes you 3 years, you're not very good in personnel.
Right.
The grade would have to. It's going to depend on how good, obviously, the players are. But they, like I said before, they hit their need areas with what looked like pretty highly graded guys.
Mm-hmm.
So my grade's pretty high, A minus. I mean, first of all, you get the quarterback, you get an A.
Yeah.
We're just quibbling over it's an A plus, A minus, or whatever. And I think they got a gem with this kid. So
yeah.
We'll see.
What do you think of this offensive tackle they got, Tevin Jenkins? I love this kid. He's out of Oklahoma. This kid, he's Oklahoma State. He's got an edge to him. He's like, all these teams that pass me over. Oh, he goes, I can't wait. What did you think of this guy's personality? And if you've seen film on him, what do you think of him?
I loved it. I mean, I was telling my wife the other day about Jay Hilgenberg for his entire career. Hilge went undrafted, and he should be like John Randall. They should be in the Hall of Fame with him. But Hilge used that for motivation his entire career, and whatever it takes. We saw it in Chicago with Jordan. Jordan took every slight and turned it into a positive motivation. I think that's a great way to be.
Yeah.
Cut me from my 10th grade team. I'll show you. Tell me I can't hit a jumper, I'll show you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I see that in an athlete, it's just going to make him work harder. And I don't mean work harder on game day. That's the kind of stuff that will make you work harder in the film room Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
And I think too often we think, they're just going to play harder on game day. No. Everybody plays hard on game day. It's whether or not you put in the extra work when you don't have to. That's what I sense with this kid. He's going to be somebody in the film room, spending an extra hour, taking an extra reel home with him. And, I love the attitude, didn't you?
Yeah, I loved it. And we can go on and on regarding this. It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. One other question I got for you regarding the Bears is they got this kid. And I kind of scratched my head because, like you, I give the Bears an A. It's a matter of it's A minus, solid A, or whatever the case may be. But I kind of scratched my head when they get the running back out of Virginia Tech, and he seems to be a hell of a kid, Khalil Herbert.
Yep.
What was in your opinion, knowing this coaching staff and Nagy and Pace, what was the mindset behind the running back? Because here in Chicago, as Bear fans, we know that they're not really fond of the running back, and we have a pretty decent running back in David Montgomery if you give him the rock enough. But what was the thought process behind drafting this running back, Khalil Herbert?
I think that had to be probably one of those, look, we got this guy graded so much higher than somebody else we could take. Because I'm with you. I don't trust Nagy's commitment to the run game. I just don't think he believes in it ultimately. But yeah, that draft choice kind of stood out like the white speck, the black speck on the white sheet. Like, hey, what's that one all about? And I don't know. I don't know. You can't have too many good football players, whatever position. So if he turns out to be that, maybe Tariq Cohen isn't as far back as they hope. I don't know. But so many of the other positions, like we said before, were spot on. Both the need and the grade matched up. So if they want to pick the whatever is the running back, and I don't know, somehow anybody named Khalil's got to be pretty good. I mean, Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
That's let's give the kid at least a fighting chance with that.
No, I'm with you.
Khalil Herbert was a strength of his was the return game, so maybe that's what they'll use him for because that's how Cohen got hurt. Maybe they just want to use him as a returner. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I think exactly. I think that's. I think Cohen ends up more as a slot receiver, kind of a gadget. I mean, he's kind of a gadget guy anyway, but I think now they don't have to give him the running back load. So the personnel packages maybe become a little more diversified. But, they address tackle, they address quarterback, they address a little bit of wide receiver, cornerback. D tackle. They got all the need positions. They checked all the main boxes.
Right.
So let's let them take the running back, and that we won't beat them up too much.
No.
Yeah, they even took another tackle, Larry Borum of Missouri.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, there's no beating up for these guys. They did a hell of a job, and I'm just sorry it took so long for them to get the job done. But they finally, for whatever reason, seem to have gotten it right. Before we let you go, we got to ask you about the unfortunate news that we were all given last week regarding Steve Mongo McMichael. What was your thoughts and reaction regarding Mongo?
Real sadness. It's one of the most cruel diseases you can have. I mean, it's right there with Alzheimer's, and just to know what he's going through, I just kind of felt for him, and just to share this with you, because it's not a secret, by the way, guys. I've been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer myself, so I could relate a little bit to Mongo. So we're, I felt like, that's the Rock of Gibraltar. He can't get sick. But I thought that about myself too, and whoops, that was wrong. So anyway,
how are you doing though?
I think pretty good. I'm playing a little golf, badly, but I'm playing. Yeah, we'll see. I got a scan coming up in a couple weeks. I was diagnosed about a year and a half ago. I feel pretty good. It spread to my lungs initially, so it's stage 4.
Wow.
So it makes breathing can be a little hard. I had a real difficult situation right before Christmas. Had to be in ICU for a week with that, but I think I'm coming back from it, and every day is a blessing. And I've had a blessed life, and I still get to talk to guys like you. This is great.
Yeah. Well, you I love you to death, and I knew you had some health issues, and because my brother's in ICU right now, as a matter of fact. He had two thank you. He had two blood clots in his lungs, and he's doing much better today compared to 10 days ago. But I tried to not intervene too much, because I know how important rest is, and I know how important it is to be strong. But you're always in my heart and my mind and my prayers, brother. And we'll certainly see you through. There's no question about it.
I mean, it's a terrible thing. My mother had pancreatic cancer. She had something called the Whipple procedure, which is a big operation. I don't know if you'll go that route, but that helped my mother out tremendously.
I would have liked to. I think it was a 7.5-hour surgery. I have some friends who had that.
Yeah.
They couldn't. The reason they couldn't do it with me is because it had spread to my lungs when they found it.
Okay.
So there's no point doing the Whipple, because you'd still, unless you want to do Whipple and a couple of lung transplants. I'm not sure I'm up for that.
No.
For that one too. So good luck to that too.
Yeah.
That's so. Yeah.
Best to you.
Well, hey, Moon.
Hoping good things. I got a lot of prayers. I'll send some back to her.
You're the best, brother. I love you to death. And hey, man, you continue to work. Get out there and play some golf, man, because that's good therapy. There's no question about it. But I appreciate you. You're an awesome human being, and I wish that there were more people in this world who are like the great John Moon Mullen, and the fabulous work that you've done. And thank you so very much for your contribution to the Rewind Sports 60, brother. And we'll certainly be talking with you down the road, okay?
Anytime. You can ring me anytime. You're my boy, Browse.
Hey, man, and listen, we're going to get you and your beautiful wife back out there to Serenello's as soon as we can get back out and have some good grub, okay?
Yeah, there's so much there I can't eat, though. Oh, my God, I can't go.
Well, that's the beauty of it. You get to take it home.
Yeah, but you can't eat it at home either.
Exactly. The last time I ate there, I felt like a python that swallowed its ear. I wasn't going to have to eat for a month.
Hey, Moon, thank you, brother. Stay well, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Moon Mullen on our TR60 hotline. He is a good man. We got 90 seconds.
90 seconds. It was great. It was crazy with the draft. I mean, the top three were both all quarterbacks, with Zach Wilson going to the Jets and Trey Lance going to the 49ers. And Trey Lance is another story. He's in North Dakota State. Didn't even play this year, and so I was surprised and glad that the Fields didn't go to the 49ers with the third pick. I thought that's what was going to happen, but this is the first time really this has happened since '99 when Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, and Akili Smith went.
Oh yeah.
And then they even did this in '71 with Plunkett, Manning, and Pastorini. So there's precedent for this. I know there was one draft where they didn't go the top 3, but I think it was pretty close with Manning and Rivers and Roethlisberger. There was another draft where the quarterbacks went really high.
It's the fastest hour in sports conversation. Thanks to the marvelous one, Dan Marver. Thanks to our esteemed executive producer. He is Devin Tingle. Yours truly, Jerry Rouse. I want to say, if you live in the Wheeling area, if you don't live in the Wheeling area, the Wheeling Donut Shop on Dundee Road, they need your help. They have a GoFundMe page. You're looking for $10,000. They've already raised $4,000. We want to save them. We want you to be a part of it. Wheeling Donuts. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the fastest hour in sports conversation. Thanks for taking your time. Thanks to our guests, John Moon Mullen and Carlos Nelson. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Take care, everybody.
Justin, good to see you again. You told us last night that one of your greatest strengths was the ability to show up in big moments. I'm curious, as you reflect on your career throughout your entire football journey, what's on the short list for you of those big moments and those big performances that you're really proud of?
Yeah, I would definitely say my 2019 year against the team up north. Of course, that was definitely probably my first, big game of my Ohio State career. And then, of course, this past year playing in the Clemson game and my performance there. So I think, those are two definite highlights of my Ohio State career where there were big moments.
That 2019 game, what do you recall most vividly? What are you most proud of about the way you guys went up there and handled your business?
Just the way, we treat that game. We treat that rivalry. So, of course, that's a big rivalry for us. And, just the way, my teammates went out there. And, of course, a big play in the game was when I got hurt. And then, of course, I came back in and threw the touchdown the next play. So just those plays. And, of course, how big that game is to Ohio State and just our fans and our community.
Thank you.
Kevin Fishbane, The Athletic.
Hey, Justin, what's kind of your plan now to get to know some of your teammates, whether it's Andy Dalton or some of the linemen? Obviously, it's an interesting situation because you're the young guy, you're the rookie, but you're also a quarterback top pick. So how do you kind of go about approaching it? Have you already had some conversations with some of your new teammates?
Yeah, actually, walking around in the facility today, I met a few guys. I met, Tariq Cohen, and I actually met Andy Dalton out in California before my pro day. So he's a great guy, and my plan on to getting to know my teammates is literally just being myself. So it's definitely an easy job for me, and I just can't wait to meet all of them and get to work with them.
Larry Mayer, ChicagoBears.com.
Hey, Justin, what have the last 24 hours been like for you? You wake up yesterday morning not knowing where you're going to be going, who's going to draft you, where you're going to live, and all of a sudden the Bears pick you, they whisk you to Chicago, and you're at Halas Hall. What's it been like?
Yeah, it's definitely been crazy, but I'm blessed. Yesterday was a little bit hectic for me not really, knowing where I'm going to be, but it's definitely all been a blessing. I really didn't get that much sleep last night. Of course, it was a quick turnaround. I had a flight 6 a.m. this morning, so I just came up here. And since I've been up here, I've enjoyed every second of it. It's a beautiful place, and I'm excited for it.
Hub Arkush, Pro Football Weekly.
Hey, Justin, I'm one of those Team Up North alum that has to learn how to love one of you guys from down south now. So welcome to town. You're going to love Chicago.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
What can you tell us about what was going through your mind, what you were thinking, what you were feeling when you made the decision to transfer from Georgia to Ohio State?
So basically, an opportunity presented itself, and I had to make a decision for my future. And I'm really not going to get into all of the details, but at the end of the day, my family and I thought it was the best decision to play at Ohio State and make that move, and it of course paid off. So I'm definitely glad I made that decision.
Hey, real quick, Ryan Day just told us that it was your pup that got you through the pandemic last year. I'm just curious what kind of dog you have. What is his or her name?
Yeah, I have a French bulldog, and his name is Uno. So he's definitely a big part of my life, and he's my best friend for sure.
When you meet Tom
He's my
Thayer,
guy.
tell him that. Ask him about Ernie.
All right, I will.
Colleen Kane, Chicago Tribune.
Hey, Justin. Obviously, it was made public earlier this week that you were managing epilepsy, and I was wondering if you could just tell us, what it's taken to manage it in your life, and if there was ever a worry if it would affect your football career.
Yeah, so actually, I got diagnosed with it in ninth grade. So yeah, basically, it was just I had a seizure in school, and it was crazy because I just woke up in an ambulance. So it was definitely a crazy story for me, but regarding football, and hasn't had an effect on football. It has had zero effect on football. I haven't missed any practices, any games because of it. And I mean, it's pretty simple for me to manage it. I just have to take 3 to 4 pills a night, every night. So it's nothing crazy. It's kind of a thing that's been there for the past 7 or 8 so years. So I'm used to it, and I'm just gonna continue to deal with it, and continue to play the game I love.
Adam Johns, The Athletic.
Hey, Justin, kind of a two-part question. Go back to that transfer. When you went to Columbus, how did you connect with your teammates right away? Like, what did you do? What did you take away from that in terms of becoming a leader on day one there, becoming a starter?
Yeah, of course, I didn't have, personal relationships with, most of my teammates there. So what I pretty much did there was, show them how much I wanted to win, how much I wanted to be there. And I did that by, working hard in workouts and weight training, and, coming in first, and, sprint drills and stuff like that. And as time went along, I just, started building personal relationships with, from guys that were freshmen, from guys that were seniors, from guys that were walk-ons. So I think it's, very important to, get to know your teammates and kind of build those personal relationships with them. That way you can connect with them on the highest level.
And then today, when you met the guys at Hallis Hall, I'm curious, as you're walking through the halls, anything strike you, whether it's a picture of Walter Payton or George Hallis's hat? Like, this is a team with a lot of history.
Yeah, I mean, just the tradition here, the history here, the pride, here in Chicago is just unmatched. And, I just love the energy already. And I'm just, glad to be a Bear, and, glad to be a part of this great city and great organization. So I'm excited.
Mike Berman.
Hey, Justin, welcome to Chicago, and congratulations. I think you touched on this last night, but wondering if you can expand on it. You're sitting inside of Hallis Hall, the headquarters of the Bears, and you understand the history of the quarterback position with this franchise, and how tortured the fan base is, and how badly they want a franchise quarterback to lead the way. Mm-hmm. How do you look at that opportunity? How do you approach it? How do you look at it? How do you maybe prevent the pressure from pouring down on you?
I don't think there's pressure at all on me, because I expect myself to, be a franchise quarterback. So, there's really no added pressure. I came from a big program like Ohio State, where, the fan base is very passionate about their sport. So there's definitely no added pressure on me in terms of that. I expect myself to be a franchise quarterback, and one day, hopefully a top 5 quarterback in this league. So that's what I'm going to, strive to do. I'm going to work every day to, reach my goal and reach new heights. So, yeah.
Cam Ellis.
Hey, Justin, sort of related to that, I know you filmed the message to fans last night, and I'm sure you've heard from more than a couple since then. I'm just sort of curious what your first impression of talking and hearing from Bears fans has been in the first, 18 hours or so.
Yeah, I mean, these Bears fans from these, first 18 hours or so, they've been great. They've shown nothing but support, and I can just tell, they're all excited, and I'm excited too. So I, just can't wait for the future, and can't wait to be able to spend moments with them, and also with my teammates. So I'm excited.
Sean Hammond, Pro Football Weekly.
Hey, Justin, just curious, who did you emulate when you were growing up in the backyard? Who were your quarterback heroes? And two, as you got older, whose film did you study?
Yeah, I would say when I was, younger, like maybe 8th, 9th grade, it was more Cam Newton. But I would say, these past couple of years have kind of turned more into, a Russell Wilson type quarterback. So I've, watched a lot of film on him. I've watched a lot of highlights on him. So I think, the things that we can do on the field, with both of those quarterbacks, I think, we have a lot of similarities between, extending plays with our legs and, also having the arm talent. So I think those are, a couple of guys that I kind of emulate my game after.
Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Justin, I wanted to follow up on the question about epilepsy earlier. That came out through a leaked report last week, and I wanted to know how did you feel about that when it came out? Obviously, you hadn't kind of talked about that publicly at Ohio State.
Yeah.
How did that feel, and just kind of how did you kind of handle that?
I mean, it is what it is. It's a part of me. I'm not gonna try to hide it. It's who I am. So there's no really reason trying to hide it. I'm just gonna just like I said before, I'm gonna continue to manage this and continue to play football like how I've always played football. So it's really nothing different for me. And of course, it came from a league source, but I'm not worried about that one bit. So I'm just happy to be here.
Dan Wiederer.
Justin, curious what in Russell's game impresses you the most, and what traits he has that you really are drawn to?
Yeah, just his deep ball is one. Just off the top of my head, the way he puts a lot of arc on it, his accuracy, of course, and just how he carries himself, as a leader, as a teammate, and I like his game. He's an accurate quarterback. He also uses his legs, so. Just stuff like that. I think those are some similarities that we have.
Coach Day also brought up the Indiana game, and others have brought it up as well as a game that translated into a learning experience for you. I'm curious how you felt about that game in the moment, and what lessons you took away from it, maybe in terms of pressing and some other things that you drew on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were a few plays in that game where I was just trying to be Superman. I was trying to do too much, throw the ball guys on my back, and I was trying to take it back to I guess middle school days. But yeah, I definitely learned a lot from that game, and keeping my team in the best position to win, and of course not putting my team at risk to turn the ball over. But yeah, I mean, I think that game was definitely a game that I'll remember for the rest of my life in terms of what I need to do to help put my team in the best position to win and to be successful. So I usually learn from my mistakes, and I'm just going to learn from those ones.
Pat Finley, Chicago Sun-Times.
Hey, Justin, how old were you when you first met Trevor Lawrence? And what is that? Go ahead.
I was probably I would say 10th grade, maybe.
10th grade. What is that kind of competitiveness been like between the two of you, whether it's Elite 11, whether it's on the field, whether it's rankings coming out of high school, whether it's matchups in the playoffs in college, and now when you get drafted in the same year? Do you find yourself comparing yourself to him and vice versa? And does it motivate you at all?
No, not really. I mean, I think, me and him are used to this. I mean, we've been at it for so long now. It seems like it's been a long time, but I think, me and him, of course, are both great quarterbacks, and I think we love this game. I think we both want to be great. So I'm not really saying that I'm necessarily trying to be better at him in this particular area. I'm just focused on myself and focused on being the best quarterback I can be for my teammates and for my coaches.
When the season starts, though, do you imagine you're gonna on Sunday afternoons when you get done with your job, gonna look and see how he did, or follow him from afar?
I'm gonna be looking at everybody and to see how they did, not just Trevor. It's not a one-on-one thing. So I wish him nothing but the best, and I hope he has a great career down in Jacksonville.
Mark Grody, 670 The Score.
Your head coach said, Ryan Day at Ohio State said that, I just want to make sure I got it right. He says that you burn hot on the inside, even though a lot of times you can't see it because you kind of seem to have just a relaxed demeanor. Is that the right way to describe it? And where does that even keel come from?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Day, he's one of the coaches that knows me best. So he's definitely right about that one. And, I think the even keeledness comes from, just me, being in so many experiences, involving sports situations in my life. I've played up to, 4 sports growing up. So I'm just, failing at, different sports. I've always tried to, stay even keeled and kind of, try to keep my body language, neutral. So I think that's just where that comes from. My dad has harped on it from when I was a little kid to, just make sure I have good body language and, no matter how I'm feeling, just try not to let others see it. So, yes, sir.
And Justin, one other thing too, do you feel like you could step on the field day one, game one in the NFL? Because right now the plan is to have Andy Dalton be the starting quarterback for the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, that's not up to me. That's up to, coach. And my job is simply to, perform the best I can perform and, be the best quarterback I can be. So I think that's a question for Coach Nagy.
Tim May.
Thank you very much. Hey, Justin, just real quick before I ask you my real question, did you feel there was an effort the last several weeks to somehow or another bring you down? I'm talking about from your perspective as you looked at some of the things that came out, much of which was bogus. Just how did you let that roll off your back?
I really can't do anything about it. There were some things said that, that of course weren't true, but hey, at this point, for me at least, the draft is over, and my focus is to turning to how can I help the Chicago Bears win. So I'm not really worried about what's has said in the past. That's all said and done with. So I'm here now, and I'm worried about the present. So.
And one other quickie, who's your favorite to be your successor at Ohio State? There's 3 guys at least in the running, and then what's the best thing you got from your relationship with Ryan Day the last 2 years that you'll carry with you?
If I went to more practices, I could probably give you a favorite, but I don't have one. But one thing I do know is all 3 of those quarterbacks down there, competitive. They're smart. They're very talented, and me and Coach Day, we've definitely had a great relationship over these past 2 years of my time being at Ohio State. But one thing about Coach Day is he's such a good coach. But a lot of you guys don't know this. He's an even better person. Just the things that he's taught me in life, and just the lessons he's taught me. It's just priceless. So I'm just grateful for all of that, for sure.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Bill from the Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Justin. In the course of this week, I talked to Wyatt Davis and Josh Byers. They didn't practice for the Alabama game because they were hurt. Ryan Day said today that you really didn't practice much. Could you kind of describe how much you did practice, how much that might have affected your performance, and in light of that, how tough was that matchup for you guys?
Yeah, I don't think me not practicing affected my performance. I think, me being injured that game, definitely, might have, impacted my performance that game and, what I could have done in the national championship game. But, I think White and Josh, they're tough players. And of course, after the Clemson game, a good bit of us got beat up pretty well. But, I think, no matter how beaten up, we've all could have gotten, that was one more game left. So we were going to leave it all out on the line, regardless. But, those guys are, great guys, and they're definitely hard workers for sure.
And how much do you think could have been different if you guys had been fully healthy?
I think, things could have went, way differently. We'll really never know. So it's, no really point in, hoping for it. So, yeah.
Larry Mayer, ChicagoBears.com.
Hey, Justin, it looked like last year that there might not be a Big Ten season at all, and you were very active in getting that done and getting everyone on the field. Why was it important to you, number one, to play and not just kind of rest and prepare for the NFL draft? And secondly, why was it important to you to take such an active role in getting that done?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big thing for me to play is because I've been playing the football since I was like 5 years old. So I mean, like I think it was maybe 1 or 2 weeks into the season where the ACC and the SEC might have started playing last year, and my teammates and I were sitting at our apartments, literally watching their game. So I mean, that was the weirdest I had felt in a long time. So I wasn't trying to not play the whole season after we went through winter workouts, summer workouts, and me seeing the amount of work my teammates have put in the off season, and me knowing how much they wanted to get back in that position to be able to play Clemson again. I wasn't gonna, or not wasn't, but I was gonna do everything that I could to help get our season back. And one of the reasons why I kind of pushed that petition was because my social media is kind of on a bigger platform than most other college players. So I thought that the size of my social media platform could have reached a lot of people across the country, and maybe have influenced the decision of flipping the Big Ten decision to cancel the season.
We're going to do 2 more quick for Justin, followed by a quick photo op. Pat Finley, Chicago Sun-Times.
Justin, you talk about playing 4 sports growing up. What role did baseball play in your footwork? And how old were you when you decided that you wanted to focus your energies toward football more than anything else?
Yeah, I think, baseball, footwork, I don't know if it has so much to do with footwork, but I think it has something to do with throwing, the ball off platform, especially playing middle infield. You have to throw the ball on the run a lot and stuff like that. So I think that's where, baseball comes in to play in the quarterback position. And then also, what was your last question? I'm sorry, I forgot.
How old were you when you decided to push your chips in on football, and what went into that decision?
Oh, I've played baseball all the way up until my junior year. So after my senior year of football, I graduated early from high school and then just went to college. So I played baseball pretty much all the way until like the age of 4, all the way up to my junior year of high school.
Last one, Dan Wiederer.
Justin, just circling back to the conversation about the pandemic, the fall can seem so distant now. I'm wondering if you could put us back in your shoes in August and September, and the level of restlessness you felt with the uncertainty that was surrounding you in regards to whether you're going to play, and what you take out of that entire 2020 experience, which is obviously very unprecedented and unusual.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the time, before they actually canceled the season, there was kind of a part in me that was saying, they're actually not going to do it. They're just saying that because, of course, the SEC and the ACC, they still had their seasons going on. But after that happened, it was like, wow, of course. And I guess, 2020 a recap, it was just a lot of trials that, myself and my teammates had to go through, of course, where we had coaches out of games, players out of games. So I think, going through, that, I guess, situation made us stronger individually and as a team and also as a brotherhood. So I think that made us come together as a team, and it really just made us stronger. So, I think if we wouldn't have gone through that, we wouldn't have been the same team. And I think that definitely made us more mentally stronger.
Thanks, Justin.
All right, media, hang tight here, and we'll have a quick photo op opportunity with Justin and his jersey.
Justin, congratulations. Welcome to Chicago.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I imagine these last 3 months have been exhausting for you in a lot of ways. I'm sure you probably haven't been through a process that has been so microanalyzed in terms of picking apart your skill set, your strengths, your weaknesses. I'm curious, what of the criticisms over the last 3 months sort of impacted you the most, and how you kind of dealt with that over the last 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of criticism, but me, at the end of the day, I feel like I know, myself. I know how much work I put in the game. I know how much I love the game. I know how much I want to be great. So, it just comes a point in time where you just have to cut, all that criticism out. And of course, it's good to listen to the criticism you get from, people that are, actually there to help you. So if it was from a coach or anything like that, of course, I'm going to take that criticism. But I feel like, of course, there's a lot of, criticism coming from outside voices that didn't really matter. So I just, did my best to kind of cut all that out and really just get to work. So.
What was tonight like for you, just sitting through those first 10 picks before you got the call at 11?
I'm the kind of guy that thinks that everything happens for a reason. So I think, this is God's plan for me to be a Bear. So I'm more than excited, and I'm, more than ready to get up there for sure.
Pat Finley, Chicago Sun-Times.
Hey, Justin, how did you find out that you were going to the Bears? What was that phone conversation like? And during the pre-draft process, did you have any hints that this might have been the outcome?
Yeah, so basically, Coach Nagy called me up and just asked me if I was ready to be a Chicago Bear, and I told him, of course. I mean, so of course the phone call went well. Coach Nagy's a great coach. He's a great person. I got to build a sort of a relationship with him these past couple of months. But just talking with him a little bit, getting to know him, and then of course going back to hints. I don't think I had any hints. I had no idea, to be honest with you. So I was confident in myself. I guess to wherever I ended up, I was gonna be in the right place for me. So again, I'm excited.
Adam Hogue, NBC Chicago.
Justin, what can you tell us about, you mentioned building that relationship with Coach Nagy. What was it, over Zoom calls? It's your pro day, any interactions? Can you be a little bit more specific about all that?
Yeah, I would say most of it was during Zoom calls. Of course, we did, have a little bit of conversation at my pro day, but most of it, through Zoom calls, and it's just, of course, just talking and, getting to know him, not only as a coach but as a person. So I'm pretty big on having great relationships with my coaches. I think that's the most effective way to be great and kind of be cooperative as a team. So just mainly through Zoom and a little bit at my pro day.
Larry Mayer, ChicagoBears.com.
Hey, Justin, what type of player and person would you say the Bears are getting in yourself, and what do you think is your number one strength?
I mean, I think the kind of player the Bears are getting is a versatile player that can, make plays both with my arm and also with my legs, and of course a smart player, a player that's going to make smart decisions, and a player that, that wants to win, that's willing to do whatever, to win. So that's of course my number one job, however that may be, whether, whatever my position may be on the team. But my number one strength, or was that the next question?
Yes.
I'm sorry. My number one strength, I would just say my overall, not even my overall, but just, showing up in big moments. I feel like when big moments present themselves, I feel like, there's just another thing that kicks inside of me. But just I think capitalizing in big moments, and of course, playing well on big stages, I think that's definitely one of my strengths for sure.
Kevin Fishbane, The Athletic.
Hey, Justin, going back to Matt Nagy, based on your conversation with him and getting to know him, how do you think you fit with what he wants out of a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think I fit, perfectly. I think if he didn't think I fit well, he wouldn't have traded up. But I think, just talking to him, getting to know, I guess, how he communicates with his quarterbacks and his learning style, I think that, that's going to make me a better quarterback, a better player. And, he's going to teach me a lot. So I'm just, again, excited to get up there and learn.
Chris Emma, 670.
Justin, this is a franchise that struggles trying to find a franchise quarterback. What do you believe makes you the kind of guy who can be that quarterback for the Bears and for Chicago?
Just the way I carry myself, just the way I, care about the game, the grit I have, the determination I have to be great. I think, nobody kind of has a story that I have. So, just everything inside of me, just wanting to be a great quarterback, wanting to be a franchise quarterback. And of course, me dreaming for this moment my whole life. So I think, all those intangibles, my work ethic, and all of that together will, of course, be different for me.
Jason Leisure, Chicago Sun-Times.
Justin, how much do you think the college experience will translate for you, given that you played at a big program and played against a lot of big programs like Alabama and Clemson? You've been on that stage.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think, it'll translate well, especially with the fan base. I know that, Bears fans are very passionate about the football, and, of course, so is Ohio State. So it's really kind of going, I guess, kind of in the same, aspect of things in terms of, seriousness and in terms of, a passionate fan base. So I think it'll definitely translate well, though, for sure.
We have time for two more here with Justin. Matt Zahn, CBS.
Justin, I know you said everything happens for a reason, but I assume you think you belonged among those top 3 quarterbacks. Does that put a chip on your shoulder as you come in to try to prove those guys wrong that didn't pick you up earlier?
No, not really. I mean, I've gone through situations where I haven't been chosen, and I think the world has seen the outcome of that. But my goal is not to worry about those teams. I mean, those teams have nothing to do with me. My goal is to, if we play that team, to beat them. So I'm not worried about the draft. The draft is over for me. For me personally, I'm ready to get to work.
Last one, Bill from the Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Justin. Congratulations. How hard was it just waiting? Everyone thought you were going to be a top 10 pick, and to not be a top 10 pick. Mm-hmm. How much did that bother you? What was your family like during that? How much did they kind of?
Yeah. I mean, just like I said, I felt like, my family was, more nervous than me, but I've been in so many, different situations in my life where, I think I want something. I think I, want to do this, but, God has a different plan for me. So just like I said before, I put, my full trust in God, and, he's put me in a perfect place for me, and, whatever his will is what's going to happen. So, again, I'm excited to be a part of this organization, and, just ready to get to work.
Thanks, and congratulations.
We're all set for now. Thank you, Justin, and congratulations again.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Sports Medicine Update, a weekly podcast with yours truly, Jerry Riles, and the Honorable Dr. Chad Padromas. Dr. Padromas is an orthopedic surgeon at Illinois Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Centers right here in the great city of Chicago, Glenview, and in Naples. Also the orthopedic surgeon at Padromas Stem Cell Institute. He's the editor-in-chief of the Anterior Cruciate Ligament Reconstruction and Basic Science. Doctor, how are you?
I'm terrific, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, and I'm looking forward to the weather improving here in the Chicagoland area. I know down in Naples it's pretty warm and comfortable there, but here in Chicago we're steadily climbing 70s, getting some 80s, dipping back to the 50s and 60s, but hopefully we'll have consistent numbers in the 70s, mid-70s with a slight breeze out of the west would be fantastic. But all in all, we're doing well, and looking forward to more sports action, baseball, and of course basketball playoffs. But everything good on your front?
Couldn't be better. Thank you.
Sounds good. The world of sports, there's so much. That's one reason why we enjoy it and we love it so much, is the fact there's always a storyline outside of the game and, of course, including the game. But for a lot of our viewers and a lot of our listeners,
a lot of them and a lot of us are always trying to get in shape, and we're working out, whether it's doing tennis or golf, and we'll get a chance to talk about the golf season coming up, weeks moving forward. But there's always the television sports as well. And for some of us out there, we're big boxing fans, but some are UFC fans and, of course, NBA fans. And there are a lot of factors involved with the conditioning and working out. But there are also and always some sort of injuries, whether it's tweaking the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the arm, the legs, whatever the case may be. This week, Doctor, I want to focus on the lower extremities. That, of course, the legs below the waist, whether it's the legs, the ankle. And I tell you, there's been some prominent injuries that have taken place over the past week in the world of sports. And I want to go right into it. UFC boxing, UFC fighting, and a horrific event injury that happened just this past week with Chris Weidman, a middleweight, 36 years of age, fighting an opponent, Uriah Hall, and 17 seconds into the bout, he was going for a leg kick, with his right leg to Hall's left leg. And in the event of the contact and kicking Hall with his right leg, he broke his leg in two. It snapped like a toothpick. And the surprising thing, it was gruesome. For those of you who may not have witnessed or seen the video, it's graphic for sure. But what was surprising to me with that, he kicked them, cracked the leg, but he didn't realize it because of the adrenaline rush and because it happened so quickly. When he brought his leg down to brace himself and get into position for his fighting stance, the broken leg crumbled. And of course, that's when he realized the seriousness of his injury. Did you get an opportunity to see that? And can you describe to our listening audience and our viewers what happened there?
Yeah, I looked at that tape that's out there in the public domain over and over and over, because, and I'll tell you what I finally sort of concluded, although I don't know. His leg buckled when he put it down. I think it broke when he put it down, not from the kick. And you see, to snap your tibia in general, whether it's Joe Theismann or I'm blanking on his name, the quarterback Smith.
Alex Smith.
Yeah, thank you. You need to generally have a leg that's weight bearing, and then something else that that hits it. So with a kick, there just shouldn't be any way that you can generate enough force with a kick. And I think had he broken it then, I don't think he would have not known it. I think he would have known it. So, and I looked at it over and over, and it looks like he put it down and then it snapped. But that shouldn't happen. I mean, it's basically non-contact injury. We say contact, non-contact for knee injuries usually. Contact means your leg's on the ground, somebody hits you. That's contact. Non-contact, you twist. The classic non-contact injury is an ACL tear, which is a devastating injury, but it's not a bone break. Mm-hmm. But, non-contact bone injuries, fractures, basically, I'm trying to think if I'm, missing something here, but basically just kind of don't happen. Now, there are cases where you have a chronic stress fracture. There's a thing called a Jones fracture in the foot, which happens now and again in the base of the foot and in the fifth metatarsal from overuse. So you get a stress fracture, and then it can break just from running around on it. And actually, that's what it sort of would have looked like, that he had a stress fracture in his tibia. I mean, that would make sense. If he had a stress fracture in his tibia, like he set up for it, had a little crack, and then he landed on and did that. But to take a perfectly normal tibia and break it just by landing on it, which is what I think happened, or possibly by kicking, I don't think it's possible to do it just by kicking. And from looking at him, I don't think he did. Because snapping your tibia, I mean, wow, I think you know about it. But, I'm not 100% sure I'm right about this. But I looked at it. Maybe it is what you say during the kick. But in looking at it, it looked to me pretty clearly. He puts the leg down and it breaks. Non-contact injury. But like I said, non-contact fractures don't occur. You get non-contact knee injuries, ACL commonly. You can get non-contact ankle sprains. You roll your ankle, non-contact Achilles tears, but a non-contact tibia fracture, oh my goodness. So, it makes you wonder, did he have something predisposing? It'd be interesting to know, and I haven't really read this anyplace, but did he have pain in that leg a little bit going into it and was set up for it? Because these are in the news a little bit. There was even a third one. I can't think of who it was besides Alex Smith and Joe Theismann that came up. Tiger Woods, right? But that's contact. That's your foot's braced against the floorboards and something happens. So I just wonder, and I haven't read anything about it, and if it were the case, would they talk about it? Did he have some pain in that leg before that happened? And then why? And by the way, there's two bones in the lower leg. There's two bones that go from the knee to the ankle. One is the tibia. It's the larger bone. The other is the fibula, the lesser bone. The fibula only bears about 10% of the weight. When you bear weight, it's almost all the tibia. In fact, you can remove the fibula for bone grafts, and it doesn't really affect normal activities. And the fibula, a large part of why it exists is to be an attachment site, an origin site for muscles. But, tibia, tib-fib, we call them tibia-fibula fractures, are higher energy injuries in general, worse injuries than just tibia fracture. And he had a completely displaced tibia-fibula fracture. I mean, that's something you see in, auto accidents, things like that. And so, or a football injury. If your leg is braced and somebody hits you, that's high energy too. But so this was not a trivial thing. This was not a crack in a little bone. This is a complete break in basically the second biggest bone in the body. It's a funny thing. It's not. They're very different, of course. But we talked last time about these pectoral muscle tears, where the one was in the patient that I had in the office, and the other in the pro athlete, with just kind of your arm circumducting itself, not against resistance like in a bench press.
Right.
Funny thing. I mean, here's another one that just usually doesn't occur this way, and so. Are people getting more set up for these unusual injuries by the intense training and the weight training and everything else? Some kind of a supplement, maybe? I don't know.
Interesting. Dr. Chaffer joined us, the weekly sports medicine update. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, talking UFC fighter Chris Weidman, who suffered a horrific leg injury, breaking his tibia this past week, fighting an opponent, Uriah Hall. It was gruesome and devastating, certainly to watch. So if you do Google it and you haven't seen it, brace yourself for it, because it's very, very graphic. And the good thing about it is Chris is obviously, the surgery took place. His leg is doing well. He's fine. And Dana White, the head of UFC, actually sent his private jet to fly him home. So. And I do believe that Chris had, experienced some injuries before in the past, and I think that was somewhat of a factor in the speculation that was going on leading up to this, after the injury. So I do believe he did have some previous injuries.
So Jerry, you're saying injuries in general or to that area?
In general, and particularly, it could have been in the leg area as well. But that's what I want to ask you, because to me, again, from my vantage point, looking at the video, it looked as if on impact that's when the leg broke, because it looked to me that when he kicked his right leg into the left leg of Hall, that the lower part of his leg, leading down to the foot area, looked like a wet noodle in slow motion. And then when he stepped back with his upper leg to put it down to brace himself is when it just went flat for sure.
You might be right, Jerry. I didn't see any slow motion takes. So if you saw that, maybe that's the case. And if it is the case, it's maybe even stranger, because for the leg to give out when you're weight bearing, happens. But but for it to break just from kicking is something that I've just never seen. So I don't know why that would I don't know why that would occur just from I mean, you would just have to think that it was predisposed. I can't prove it,
Right.
And maybe I'm wrong. But in general, so you can get a stress fracture in the tibia, although, and you can get one in the fibula too. Although for both bones to go, it'd be pretty strange to have a stress fracture in both before. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it.
But Doc, could it be both bones? He's kicking his right leg with the tibia bone, and I guess the angle hits the tibia bone of Hall, which is stationary, and when the force comes together, could have caused that break at that impact at that moment.
Well, I mean, if what you're saying is true about the slow motion, and so you're saying you actually saw the deformity at the point of impact, if that's the case, then you're right. Then obviously it did. It's just that you just don't see it. The ones, all the ones that I've ever seen, and it's not a real common sports injury. I mean, it's and I'm trying. Did Gordon Hayward have a tibia fracture? I don't know. I'd have to go back and check.
I know there was, I think Rudy Gay in the NBA, I think he suffered something similar to that. I know there are a couple collegiate basketball players over the past few years that suffered some gruesome injuries, such as.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of times the gruesome injuries, like the Bears' recent great tight end, Zach Miller.
Yeah, Zach Miller. Yeah.
So often you'll see a knee dislocation like he had. So the knee goes sideways, it goes backward. But I've just never seen a tibial. And I mean, aside from sports, I don't really do trauma work fractures anymore and haven't for a while. But, I did for 20 years maybe. And so you would see, I'd see tibia fractures. I'd take care of tibia fractures. And I never saw one where you didn't have a case where the leg was braced, your foot is braced, so you've got a fixed point. You've got the foot braced and then your body being stationary, even standing. And I saw a martial arts injury where the person was standing and he was kicked. He's the recipient of a kick, not the giver of a kick. So his was fixed and he got kicked by somebody else on his tibia and his tibia broke. So, you see that. But I've never seen one like this. So happily, I guess I would say, I mean, it's a rough sport. Bad things happen. Happily, that doesn't happen very often. Happily, they can put a rod down, an interlocking nail, it's called, which they did. And prognosis is very good, but not that sport is not for the faint of heart.
No question about it. Believe me, Dr. Chad Prodromos. Speaking of which, and I want to get into a conversation a little bit about LeBron James and the NBA and his ankle injury. But before that, you mentioned Tiger Woods earlier, and we know, God bless him, and thank God that he's okay and survived the accident a few weeks back in California. He's now obviously back home in Florida. But the serious leg injury that he sustained in that horrific car injury, he had a couple rods and screws inserted in that right leg there. What is the recovery based on that sort of injury from your knowledge and experience? What is the recovery for that regarding Tiger and one, getting back to normalcy as far as, walking and jumping and, bending and things of that nature. But, the golf fans, would he be capable of returning back to the sport of golf, which is a lot of walking, when you're talking about 18 holes for 4 days? Can Tiger rebound to this, have a normal life, and more importantly, get back to a pro life as well?
Yeah, so the recovery can be long, and again, I don't know the details. These injuries, the recovery and the complication rate correlate some with the energy imparted. So there are low energy and high energy injuries. So If the bone sticks out through the skin, it's called a compound or open fracture. It heals more slowly. The configuration of the fracture matters too. If it's a clean transverse fracture, they actually heal worse because there's less exposed bone area to heal. And so, the length of recovery, Joe Theismann, as best I understood it at the time, failed his physical a year later. And a second year after, I think, would have been okay. But the tibia is possibly the slowest healing bone in the body. Alex Smith, of course, oh my goodness, I think he had an infection and multiple surgeries. So with him, it was a couple of years, I think, maybe more. So in general, if it's the ankle, it's a little quicker. If it's the tibial shaft, like the UFC fighter, longer. So tibial shaft, the bones usually heal real well. The joints are more complicated. So so the UFC fighter, you would think, once the bone heals, should be maybe just about as good as new. Tiger Woods is closer to the ankle, so it depends. If the ankle was traumatized as well, the ligaments, that's a little worse. And the thing in Tiger Woods' case too, so your joints serve as dampers. When you walk, your body would kind of go up and down, and your joints, your ankle, your knee, and your hip all serve to dampen the vertical oscillations that occur when you walk. So they're all shock absorbing structures. Yet, in the back too. And so, you can have an injury like Tiger Woods and do really well, but if you look at your range of motion, maybe it's a little less than before. I mean, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's perfect, but oftentimes it'll be a little less. So, for the average person, maybe that doesn't matter. But you take Tiger Woods with his back problems, and so if his back isn't 100%, and then his ankle isn't 100%, in aggregate, it can be worse than either one alone. The other thing is golf. I mean, gee whiz, golf is such a hard sport. And so I think you'll be able to walk. I think you'll be able to play golf. But to be able to play golf and win PGA tournaments, I mean, never say never. There's no theoretical reason why it couldn't happen. But he's had multiple back surgeries. He's had knee issues. And there comes a point when your back's a little sore, your knee's a little sore, your ankle's a little sore. He's a little older than he was. So, the odds are certainly against him ever being, rising to his prior level.